Snow in the south again? I think not. We're going to have to issue a hype alert. Certified meteorologist Jonathan Kegas back with you. Now we're going to talk about exactly where it's going to snow and why it is not going to snow again in the south. If you want the truth about the weather and want to avoid some of that garbage that's out on social media, you've come to the right place. Here we talk about the science, what's actually happening with the weather, and have that weather conversation. Hit that subscribe button to join the best weather community on YouTube. All right, now let's get into it. First and foremost, we're going to be talking about this. This map is from the Climate Prediction Center. You see the orange and red draped across the south. When you see the darker oranges, that means the probability is higher for above normal temperatures. Where it is blue through the northern tier of the country, that is where below normal temperatures are expected. That is where we're going to see the active storm pattern. Again, we're going to transition into a more active track across the northern tier of the country. We'll get all into that through the course of this video. By the way, I'm going to have chapters in the description in case you want to hop around, although I would love for it if you watch the whole thing. If you're with us still, hit that thumbs up button and post in the comments where you're tuning in from and what the weather is doing. So you see here, Climate Prediction Center again, not on board with the snow. It was never going to happen, although there were so many posts last week, over the weekend, even yesterday, that a big snowstorm is coming through the south. That is complete trash. It's pattern recognition. Even if there was a phantom model run out there, it's just those other YouTube channels biting on something for clicks. I promise you, it's not going to snow in the near future in the deep south. Different story into the north, and we will get into that. For that, we're going to go to the other weather computer. This is looking at the European forecast all the way through the next several weeks here. So this is going to be the 7-day snowfall forecast. And you clearly see here, the European model is not forecasting anything. Again, we're going to get into the pattern in just one second. I mentioned that science and meteorology are a part of this channel and not that clickbait stuff. But here you go. This is through February 3rd. We'll take this further out through the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th now, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And you see everything that would be snow is kind of bottled up to the north over the next couple of weeks. You do see some gray areas down there indicating there's a shot for some light snow, maybe as far south as Kansas City as we get down into the next couple of weeks. But by and large, we are not expecting a big-time storm system to come through the south, at least from a snow perspective. Severe weather is a different story, and we'll take a look at that in just one second. I want to show you the actual model here. This is going to be the European model. We're starting it on the morning of January 30th, and this is going to be a decent storm system getting going. It's just not going to produce snow in the south. So there's the rain, some snow on the back end of the front range of the Rockies here. So let's take this out into the future a little bit, and you'll see this really getting going. And that is where we're going to be watching for the severe weather. First right here, and then through Louisiana. We'll take a pause on that to look at that severe weather risk. So this is going to be the severe weather threat from the morning of the 29th through the 30th. So again, as we move over to the next couple of days, the 29th and the 30th, into central Texas, where we just showed you. So a marginal risk there that is 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. Now, that threat goes up just a little bit as we move into Thursday into Friday. So there we go, from the morning of Thursday into Friday. So really Thursday afternoon into the evening, we have that slight risk, that little yellow bubble going from just north of Houston through about central Louisiana into Alexandria into extreme southwest Mississippi. That is a level 2 out of 5. So we could have some rock and thunderstorms in that area as well. And again, that is going to be on later of the day on Thursday. So we'll go back again to the future radar. This is going to be early in the morning on Friday. So you see it's a kind of a later Thursday on the 30th into an early Friday, the 31st kind of deal. And there it is, slicing through. Let me get the telestrator back out again. Here is the cold front that is working its way right on through. There's the area of low pressure. And then there's where you might be able to have a little bit of snow on the back end. But by and large, it is going to be extremely warm. Now, the people that are going to take the cake for the most active weather as we flip the switch from January into February, it is no doubt going to be the Pacific Northwest. And you see it right here. So this is now still on January 31st. Let me clear out my telestrations right here. And look at all of this. Tons of snow in the higher elevations of the Cascades and the Sierra Nevadas. and then lots and lots of heavy rain into Northern California, into Washington, into Oregon. So way above normal precip is going to be expected in the Pacific Northwest. That is going to be the active pattern. I think that the atmosphere finally realized that we are in fact in a La Nina winter, which would favor the cold and the snow through that part of the country, and things to be dry and warm in the southern tier of the country. And that's, I think, what we're going to be transitioning to over the next couple of months. Look, the snow was awesome in the South. If you ever wanted to see snow for the first time, if you like the snow in general, that was a once in a couple of generation snowstorm. For the people calling for that to happen again just a couple days ago, and again, early as January 27th, that is not going to happen. That is purely for clicks. It is purely for hype, scare tactics, again, all just to fuel that YouTube algorithm. There's some people out there, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to drop names on the channel, but man, it has gotten ridiculous. And the fact that we have to come on here on our channel and kind of dispel that misinformation that is out there, it's kind of wild, but that's what we're here for, to kind of put all that to bed and to really tell you what's going on and to break down the science. And again, we love doing it. We love talking about the weather, and I hope you do too. And if you are into all that stuff, please hit that subscribe button. We love to have you on board as we are fighting that good fight here on the Just Weather channel. So that's what it's looking like there over the next couple of weeks. Extended again snowfall. It's all bottled up into the north, and that is something that is going to continue. In terms of, again, the rainfall, we mentioned, well, this is going to be QPF, or the moisture forecast here. It's all situated. That was some crazy telestrations, but it's all right from into Texas, Louisiana, and then back up into the Ohio River Valley. So that's where that bullseye of the heavy rain is, in that deep, dark orange color. That's where we could see several inches, 2 to 4 inches of rain through Friday, January 31st, through the morning of Friday, January 31st. So that is where active stretch number 1 is, right in the nation's midsection. Again, it is way too warm for snow, but then also, as we mentioned, with really a series of weather systems that are going to be sliding through the Pacific Northwest, above normal rainfall and snowfall in the mountains, and then below normal precipitation, because we're really not going to see much of the sunshine. Mentioned it before. Again, I do think that we are starting to transition into that La Nina pattern. We officially, several weeks ago, earlier in January, officially got into La Nina. We met the characteristics, or we met the criteria, where the sea surface temperatures in the equatorial Pacific have now dipped a half a degree Celsius below normal to officially be in a La Nina. And what that means for the weather is we typically have this ridge building kind of right here. It's a little bit further west than that. And then the jet stream stays right through here. So that's why, more often than not anyway, and again, the first part of winter has not behaved like this, it's to keep the cold bottled up here, and then that very active storm track to really roll right across the northern tier of the country, Great Lakes, and then right on through. So those bigger snowstorms in the Northeast, not really conducive in a La Nina pattern. Really, the only shot that we have, as I ramble in on a tangent, and hit that thumbs up button if you're still with me, by the way, is going to be if we get a clipper system to originate right there from Alberta or Saskatchewan, to kind of work its way down, and then to find itself right here, and then it blows up over the warmer waters of the Atlantic Ocean, and then kind of works its way up. So that's like the only shot when you're in a pattern like this. Now, again, like we saw the other day with the snow, you can get stuff that goes like this or like this. It only takes one to kind of enjoy something in the pattern that makes it a little different than your typical La Nina pattern. That's why it is, in fact, just called typical, because it doesn't always follow that. There's other things that dictate it, but nonetheless, in a pattern that we're going to see for the next several weeks, it's going to have to be that top one here, track number 1, if you are rooting for some snow. Again, in the Northeast, by the way, there are still areas from Texas to Florida that have seen more snow than coastal areas of New England or parts of Minnesota, Alaska even. It's been wild. I think in the upper Midwest anyway, now is going to be our shot as we turn the calendar page into February. to get a little more snow on the ground to help make up for really our deficit that goes way back into last winter. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and dealing with my little spiel there and all the stuff here. But I wanted to make it clear that snow is not coming to the south. And if you want to join the best weather community on YouTube, more than 100,000 strong, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, post in the comments where you're tuning in from, and we will catch you next time.